The Sustained Dialogue Institute held its third Ambassador Dialogue Series on November 18, 2019 at the Ronald Reagan Building and International Trade Center, featuring His Excellency David John Newman, Ambassador of Botswana to the United States. This part of the series explores how Botswana's leadership can help reach out and build bridges through dialogue.
How do you see, Ambassador, the Botswana's place in the African constellation of 55 nations? What has been its role, and how do you see it going forward? What does it offer specifically, would you say?
When I arrived there, it was 12 years before Mandela's release, so there was a lot of going on there. Angola Civil War, Mozambique Civil War, and yet it was just effectively a place of harmony, a place that is recognizable to, you know, if you, now as it was then. It was a place of refuge. So you had a lot of people, a very mixed diaspora from other countries. And of course, part of it was to do with the wonderful leadership that our first president had set, and the rationale for him doing that. To be showing other countries, particularly our neighbor to the south, that you could have black majority rule government that could work efficiently and effectively, and for the development of the people.
People may not know of the riches of Botswana, in particular the mineral resources. So, and to say a little more about the diamond, trade, is that the right word?
Diamonds were officially discovered in 1967, which was 1 year after independence. If they'd been discovered before, well, South Africa would have taken them, I think. And if it was before that, well, the Brits would have had a say as well. But between them, they'd have fought. And the beauty of it was that actually nobody wanted Bechuanaland. I mean, it was that poor. And then the diamonds were found.
And is that done in a partnership with the government, and is it a private? It's
a PPP. In fact, it's the oldest successful public-private partnership. It's De Beers and the Botswana government, and they formed a 50-50 relationship called Debswana, and they formed that on inception after the discovery.
Right. It's a model of success that's helped its own people.
I think that's fair, and I think one of the things is very good governance and great leadership in the early days when it was most needed.
The other subject you mentioned, elephants, not a subject I know much about.
You will before you leave.
I've already heard some, which has been quite fascinating.
We love our elephants. That's the starting point.
Every
single Botswana, every person living in Botswana loves elephants. So that's the first thing that one must remember. Okay. Move on. We have 130,000 of them. Now let's put that into perspective. In the mid-90s, we had about 50,000. So we have gone from 50,000 elephants to 130,000 elephants. Because of the conservation measures that we've had in place over decades, our numbers have gone up.
You've had so much development, but you haven't had inequality. Someone had said to me long ago that it's almost difficult to find a really, really rich person or a really, really poor person in Botswana. And I wonder if you could talk about what lessons you've learned, how that came about.
Carol, actually, we do have inequality, and it's something that we need to address, actually. And that's one of the functions that we have here as an embassy, in my role, to create more jobs back home, because we have actually high unemployment, far too high for the number of particularly skilled young people that we have. And the purpose of creating jobs is to eradicate poverty, because that's the critical one. That's the SDG 1 and 2, and health is 3, and we're doing well with health as well. But these are the things that are critical to us, and we pour a lot of money, a lot of resources. In fact, we wonder whether we get sort of value for our buck, really, in terms of education and health, because we put in about 40% of our budget goes into those two.
What is the next vision for the economic development, the trade, the movement of people within Botswana?
It's everything. It's health, it's education. It's got to be youth-driven. The idea is it's got to be effectively private sector-led. The government is there to get out of the way, just to facilitate, to make things easier for business and life to happen.
Cybercrime is a really big issue in Botswana. So what are the initiatives being used to address it? And since there is like a need for it in IT on trained individuals in cybersecurity?
We've had an amazing election. We've had foreign interference. You know, we've never been aware of it before, but we've definitely had it this time. We've had foreign interference in terms of money coming in to try to. We've had any amount of fake news in terms of stories that have gone viral. So there's a lot happening. I mean, so we've got to enter the global. We are on the global stage, as small as we are. It gets, as I say, it gets right into Southern Africa as well. So nobody can avoid it. We've got to be there and in control.
A quick question on the recently passed Continental Free Trade Agreement for Africa. What are your thoughts on it? What are your expectations for how it'll impact trade for Botswana and the whole continent?
It's got the potential of being transformational, because what it could do is create actually the strongest economy on the globe. How it will play out, I mean, in an ideal world, well, we don't live in one. But what I do see is I see great regional benefits. I think that's where it's going to. And I think rather than happen holistically, I think it'll happen, you know, SADC will get stronger, the East African group will get stronger, the West African group will get stronger, and then as regional groups, we will then work together. That's how I see it work.
What a pleasure it's been, Your Excellency, as part of this conversation. So let's give the Ambassador a round of applause for his work.